All right, everybody, it is 3:03, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn over the mic here to Mr. David Underwood, our Holganix representative from the Southeast region. David, do you want to say hello?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Hope you guys are great. First thing I'd like to say is thank you, everyone, for attending this webinar. I'm really excited about it. I've been with Holganix for 2 years. I've been the Southeastern sales rep, and over the course of the last eight months, I've got to work with UltraGreen, so I'm real excited to get to introduce Caleb Ault and Josh Bryan with UltraGreen. You guys will be able to hear a little bit about their story, where they've come from, what they're doing currently, how they use Holganix. So without further ado, let's get started. So that is me and my family. Like I mentioned, I am the Holganix representative of the Southeast. I do have 4 kids. Those are all mine. Yes, it's true. If anybody has any questions, you please jot down my telephone number, my email address. You can shoot me questions or call me anytime after this webinar or in the future. So once again, my name is David Underwood, and I'm looking forward to getting started. So why don't we take this opportunity, Caleb and Josh, why don't you please just say hi to the group?
Hello, this is Caleb.
Hey everybody, my name is Josh. I'm the guy on the left, Caleb's the guy on the right, in case you were wondering if you see the picture there.
At this point, I'm ready to turn it over to you guys. Once again, everybody out there, thank you so much for joining us today. Caleb and Josh, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and telling us about UltraGreen.
Great, thanks, David. This is Caleb. So UltraGreen, we're a small family-run business here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Started up back in 2012 with a pickup truck and a spreader, and a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, and then we could only afford one at the time, and then we got a 1-gallon hand can that Josh would use and spot spray some grassy weeds. And some of this new sales we were going after were full of poana, and I made Josh walk around the whole lawn and spot spray all those little sprigs of poana with 1-gallon hand can. So, anyways, we didn't start with a lot of money at all. We built this from the ground up and just slowly built the company as we continued to get customers. So we didn't have a lot of money to invest in marketing and advertising and mailers and fancy software that we're currently using now, and you know, Josh did convince me to buy some iPads, and we started using a mobile application called Invoice to Go to invoice our customers, and we created this system to schedule services. So again, we started from really nothing and just continued to plug away, going door to door, talking to customers, providing good quality service, and you know, that was one of the things when we first started our company. We wanted to commit to excellence and quality service. So really, even though not having a lot of money, we didn't know how much lawn care would, selling services. We knew we came from another competing company, and we knew what we could charge for services, and knew that they were making money doing it. So we figured we didn't go into all the cost analysis and how much this costs and how much that costs. We just knew we could put out some high quality fertilizer. We're going to make sure our lawns are the greenest lawns on the block, and we're going to make sure the lawns have no weeds, and we're getting rid of all the weeds. And we knew that there's a lot of weed controls available, but our company we used to work for mainly used like 2 or 3 weed controls all year long. So we did a lot of research and find out what weed controls we needed, and come to find out those weed controls were really expensive. But we committed to our goal of providing great quality service to our customers and getting the best results and having the greenest lawns on the block. So again, we did that. We didn't really spare any expense purchasing great chemicals and products and material and making sure our customers are happy. So, but with that being said, every single year we've been growing. We've been trying to improve the product, improve the process, improve the system to where our customers have the same experience each time they have an UltraGreen experience. Making sure their lawns are green, weed-free, and healthy, and then what can we do to separate ourselves from the competition? So that's one thing we've been doing as we continue to grow, and making sure that we're offering quality products and quality service and getting the results for our customers. I guess I've said that a few times. So that's kind of our story. We started a couple branches in Tennessee or one branch in Tennessee, and we started another branch in Florida. We're kind of crazy. Again, we don't have a traditional business background. We kind of just, Josh actually, a little bit more, what would you say? Just jumps in there and goes out and gets the job.
Shoot first, aim second.
So, but yeah, we've been having fun, trying to build other branches and other locations. But it's given us a good experience because we're dealing with a lot of different turf types. We deal with St. Augustine in Florida and Zoysia. We deal with fescue and Bermuda in Tennessee in a transition zone where everybody wants fescue, but really Bermuda grows well. And then here in Arkansas, we have a lot of Zoysia and a lot of Bermuda, and then some people try to grow St. Augustine and centipede. So we have a lot of different varieties of turf we're dealing with. And so it is a challenge sometimes creating a great program in each market. So.
Gotcha. Well, tell us a little bit more about being on the cutting edge. You guys said that you're willing to, when I talked to you yesterday, use better products. You mentioned that a little bit today, that you wanted to have quality services. Tell us a little bit more about being on the cutting edge and trying new products.
Well, when we first started, again, we had a pickup truck, a spreader, and granular fertilizer. We didn't have a spray system or a spray tank for 2 years, and our competition kept looking at us like, well, who are these guys? How are they getting these results, and how are they doing this? They don't even have a spray tank. And we have no idea how many times we heard that going down to pick up products and chemicals. Our competition sees us, and we're just out there pushing the spreaders and pushing granular products. So we got into, in 2014, we bought our first spray rig and put it on the truck and started going at it that way. And we realized, pretty quickly why everybody else had spray rigs because the cost was so much cheaper. You could actually, pre-emergents were a lot cheaper. You could get better results because you could blanket the applications a lot quicker. So we're trying to look at efficiencies because we're growing, having more customers, trying to get more production done out of one vehicle, and again, providing great service too. So adding a spray rig, we did learn a lot, but at the same time, there weren't a lot of products available, in my opinion, that offered a solution to be able to spray year-round. So that was our struggle, and how do you go about, spray? Technicians want to spray year-round, and being kind of having more of an agronomy background and focusing on quality and turf health, and how do you find a product that you can spray it in the summertime when really it's like, well, we were putting out granular products, putting out slow-release fertilizer, trying to avoid disease, and then selling customers fungicides, doing research on fungicides and disease control, trying to implement programs to prevent disease before it started. But as we slowly started adding our spray rigs, we went all the way and got spray rigs in everybody's trucks, and then we found Holganix, and that really kind of set us apart even further. Just continue to change our program and find and research and what's working, what other companies doing, what's getting the best results. But Holganix is awesome because we found that, and that really helped streamline our program, allowed us to spray year-round. We put together, our dual line systems where we could offer targeted weed control applications with more expensive herbicides and still provide a quality product each time we go out there. Because as you're growing your company, you start realizing the costs of all the chemicals and whatnot. It all adds up, and it becomes a larger number. But yeah, as we added a dual line system, we were able to use more expensive herbicides and spot spray them as needed. And then if we have to go back and customize our service, it's a little easier to do that when you have a dual line system and then a large spray rig you can spray each time. So that's been our goal this year, is again streamlining the process and increasing profits and still providing quality service at the same time. And
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. So going back to cutting edge stuff, it's awesome to tell us about your story of where you came from. How did you come to decide? What was the deciding factor of why you chose to use Holganix?
Well, honestly, I met Dave Thompson, and he pretty much sold me on the fact of Holganix. Why we decided to use Holganix again is really just to offer a quality product. We saw the value in amending the soil and fixing the soil first. Really, I had no idea what Holganix was, and did a lot of research myself and was happy with the organic products that I was currently using. And I thought I had found the best organic products, and we were putting out organic fertilizer on our zoysias to help prevent large batch disease and not putting a lot of quick release nitrogens down. And then I ran into Dave Thompson. Actually, Rob Busick, one of my employees, he told me, hey, you need to go check out this Holganix. I'm like, yeah, I know about that. I've seen that. They have some algae and some plant stuff and some, it sounds too good to be true, and it's probably expensive, and I probably won't use it, but it sounds good. Anyway, so I met with Dave Thompson, and just basically he asked me what was I using. I told him, I was using Milorganite as my organic fertilizer. I was happy with the results I was getting, and then he went on to explain more about his product, and he super knowledgeable. At the time, I didn't know who he was. I just thought he was some sales rep with Holganix, but so he definitely piqued my interest, and I was like, wow, this sounds too good to be true. Let me see how it works. But Holganix was awesome in the fact that they cared about my business. They were interested in my company. They took interest in seeing how they could help my company grow. And again, I was telling you yesterday when I was talking with you, probably one of the main reasons I started using Holganix was they offered like a RAD system, a batch fill system, and I knew that's where I wanted to get to because I wanted to start spraying more, wanted to have quick fill setups. First we were filling with water hoses. It took like, an hour to fill a 300-gallon tank. And Dave was like, yeah, I'm going to get you a batch fill system. I'm going to get you a refrigerator. I'm like, and I'm like, at the whole time I'm thinking, how much is this going to all cost? He's like, oh yeah, we get that all for you. I'm like, okay, seriously, this sounds way too good to be true. But I was like, let's see how far this rabbit hole really goes. I'll take him up on it. He said he's going to come meet me in Arkansas. Sure, we'll see how that works. So I left Florida and came back to Arkansas, and then Dave followed up with me. I got a call actually from Dave Underwood. I'm like, oh, this is the sales rep that's going to sell me the product now. He's going to tell me, slap me with the big bill. Okay, let's see. And it was a great impression. You guys set up an awesome meeting. You guys came down here, and the biggest thing about Holganix was that they are educational based. Like they came in and educated our whole crew, taught philosophy, helped with the soil philosophy, and taught us a lot about the product and how it works. I've probably learned more from the guys from Holganix than I've learned in the last 7 years working for a competing company and all the different meetings you go to and all the training seminars and all the university studies and whatnot. I mean, they definitely helped us a lot in knowledge of Holganix. So if the benefits were true that they were claiming, I figured, man, it's worth a shot. If we can have better lawns, it makes sense. You got to start with the soil. I get that. And nobody's using this. Well, sure, that's what I want. I want to be the company that has offering that, again, cutting-edge product that nobody else is using, that's getting our customers better results, setting us aside or apart from the competition. So that's one of the reasons why we chose to use Holganix. A lot of reasons. So it's kind of a long, hard question to answer, but there's a lot of reasons.
Yes, sir. Josh, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, Caleb and I's roles are a little different in the company. I'm usually in charge of the sales and marketing and stuff like that, and the thing that drew me to it was the marketing aspect. As we know, this is a very competitive industry. There's a lot of companies out there that are trying to take our customers or try to be the company to go to, and so any competitive advantage you can get is great. So when I looked at this product, the deciding factor for me initially was, hey, we can offer something that no one else offers. And so from a marketing perspective and a sales perspective, it's a dream come true. For instance, you can go up to a lawn that is absolutely beautiful and looks perfect, and whereas before we wouldn't have as much to sell on, maybe we could try to get them a discounted price or do something, find out if they weren't happy with something. But now I can go to a lawn that's beautiful and say, hey, listen, if I could get you the same results that you're getting now and use 65% less chemicals, wouldn't that be something you'd be interested in? And so, it gives us an extra marketing tool. So that was one of the biggest deciding factors for me personally, was the opportunity to be able to set ourselves apart.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Caleb, for all the kind words you mentioned earlier. Thank you. So real quick, guys, and we're kind of getting a little pressed for time, but real quickly, how has your program changed over the couple of years? Before being granular, then going into a spray tank, and then adding Holganix. Can you sum up how that's changed in the last couple of years?
Yeah, again, I think we've talked about that a little bit. Each year our program has changed. We started to implement different products, and a couple years ago, every year is different. That's one thing that in lawn care you see. Weather's different every year. One year you have a whole bunch of rain. One year you have no rain. One year you have cool temperatures. Next year you're having a heat, record-breaking heat throughout the summer. So every year is different. So each year you always have to adjust your program to fit, the environment that you're in. So that's one thing. Every year is different. But with the disease pressures we've been having here in Arkansas for the last 2 years, my whole program has been trying to design around reducing disease pressures in lawns. I did a lot of research on trying to find out great fungicide programs, implementing, rotations of fungicides, and selling the customer, educating the customer on why they need to spend $500 on fungicides a year. That's the challenge to overcome, and that's again what continued to direct us towards Holganix in my search of trying to create a program that helps prevent disease and helps create a healthy lawn, because that's the last thing a customer wants to know is, oh yeah, you've been paying me, $600 a year, but yeah, you need to pay me $400 more to help with this other problem you got going on. So it's hard with the customer's perspective when you feel like they're always trying to sell them something else. So if I can include a great program that gives the customer all these results that they're looking for when they choose a lawn care program or service and deliver on that, that's really what how our programs kind of evolved around the years. But now we have Holganix. Implementing Holganix and some agri-liquid fertilizer really helps our program. We can spray year-round, get great results, don't have to worry about burning lawns, and can deliver great service. So
awesome. Once again, thank you so much for sharing. If we'll go to the next slide, Katie. So this is kind of important. We really need guys to hear about, especially the guys that are in the testing phase or not using the product currently. Let's talk in detail, if you don't mind sharing, guys, about what you've seen by using Holganix. What was your first impression? What were the conversations look like? What you thought the results were going to be, and what you've actually seen the results to be. If you guys don't mind sharing.
So I'll start off on this section here. So this was one of my biggest concerns when we switched to Holganix. It was definitely one of my hesitations initially, from making the decision to go to Holganix, start using it, was how are the lawns going to look? From a marketing perspective, it sounded great. Caleb had me convinced. Dave sounded good, but sometimes you can't trust salesmen. They're trying to sell you something. So I kept asking, if it's so great, why isn't everybody using it, right? So, anyways, it took me a little while to become sold on it. So I'll just start with that. Caleb, go ahead.
Well, first when we first started talking about it, we talked to other users at the Real Green conference, and we were talking to other users like, yeah, those Holganix sales reps, they sound great, but it really does work, but really it's probably going to take you 2 or 3 years before you start seeing the benefits and start seeing the results. So again, when I first started using the Holganix, I was really setting myself up, okay, I think, I really, again, I did it for all the help. They were wanting to grow my business, help me grow my business. Nobody else in the last 4 years has ever come to me and said, hey, let me help you grow your business. And, you really don't have to do anything for us. We're trying to help you grow your business. I mean, obviously they want us to purchase product, but at the same time, they gave us a rad system, help us fill and all that. That's really what I was doing it for. And I was like, well, if it works, great. But at the same time, these guys are telling me 3 years. I'm like, okay, am I committed to 3 years using this product to get the results that they claim I'm supposed to get? So that's kind of the first impression I had. I was like, man, I don't know. I hope this does work. We started using it, and almost initially we saw improvements. It wasn't, and again, they recommend going at a higher rate the first round. I was like, well, we started early enough. Let's just go with round one with regular rate application and just do our applications throughout the summer, put out the 35 ounces a year that they're recommending. So let's follow their directions, let's follow the instructions and do what they're recommending, because I want to get the results. So we saw results almost immediately on our lawns, and when they're greening up, we had great color. But the biggest improvement we've seen with our turfs this year is with disease. It's been amazing. So again, we sold a lot of fungicide the last 2 years, and in the spring we did fungicides because I wasn't sold on the fact that Holganix was a disease control. They're like, yeah, you may still need fungicide, but then add Holganix afterwards. Okay, all right, we'll do that. We'll just keep adding Holganix. And how am I going to sell them another treatment of Holganix on top of their fungicides they already have? So doing more research and seeing the results in my own lawn. I have a huge patch, large patch disease in my front turf. I moved in a year ago, and I did my fungicide program, 2 years in a row, added a whole Heritage and Ballista and Eagle, and rotating my fungicides, attacking the disease, and I still had problems in the turf. But then adding Holganix throughout the summertime, I started adding more Holganix, treating the lawn with Holganix, and we saw a huge improvement in the disease pressures, and this grass started filling in. I was like, wow, this is really working. We have had hardly any calls this year about disease, customers saying my lawn got destroyed from disease. We've had multiple customers before this year calling years previous and say, you guys destroyed my lawn. I'm like, well, you have large patch disease, and trying to educate the customer on the disease is so hard and time consuming. But by adding Holganix, we've had, I want to say, 50% less disease pressure or more, and that's been a huge, big improvement. This is not my lawn you guys are seeing. This is actually the employee's lawn. Steven, he just moved in. You see as he was improving or raking the lawn, there's not a lot of turf that was in the spring, and he kept giving me a hard time. He was out there raking his lawn. He wanted to look good. He's like, man, I need to seed. I'm like, dude, you have Bermuda. You don't need to seed. Just give it some time. He's like, man, it's April, or we're going into May. I need to seed. I'm like, no, just give it some time. Wait for some heat. So all he's done this year is add Holganix and some fertilizer. He may have put some Lorganite out. I'm not sure, but it's only really our program, Holganix program. And as you can see, that's here in the fall, I believe. After a year worth of Holganix treatment. So the lawn went from almost bare dirt and weeds. You want to go back to that other image. There's also, he has a French drain in the middle, that line right there, they put a French drain in, and there's not even a quarter of an inch of topsoil there. And the neighbor across the street was like, man, they've never had anything grow in that area whatsoever. Never. Weeds won't grow there, nothing will grow there. And now if you go back to the next image, after using Holganix and some fertilizer, he has that whole area almost completely filled in with Bermuda grass. No seed, just fertilizer and Holganix and regular mowings. So you can see it's a pretty big improvement in just a short, probably 8 months.
Awesome. Awesome. Once again, there's some other things here, guys. Quickly, if you'll go through some of maybe about the money, the cancels, the callbacks, upsell opportunity. If you guys will quickly go through those three, I'd greatly appreciate it.
We have another third party, kind of driving around our neighborhoods looking at our lawns, and he's been noticing even that our lawns are greener, staying greener longer here in the fall. That we're in Florida, we don't even feel like we have competition out there. When we're using the Holganix and the fertilizer, the AgroLiquid fertilizer we're using, it's been amazing. The combination together been really setting us aside from the competition. Our lawns are greener, and then about the money, man, our chemical costs this year actually, again, Josh was giving me a hard time about it because he didn't really fully believe in the product, and was like, man, is it worth it? Yeah, if we can get more sales, sure. But coming down to the end of the year, looking at comparable year-to-year, year-over-year material costs, we've actually cut our costs by about 4.7%. It's almost 5% in savings over material costs, even with the added Holganix. And I'm going I'm sold on the product, so I'm even using more of it now. It's giving me a hard time about using too much, but
Which that actually translates to about 15 to 20% savings over
yeah.
our material cost for the year.
Yeah, which is great. And as far as cancels, going back to the disease control, less disease pressure, less unhappy customers, less turf problems. They're happier. We had armyworms like crazy this summer, and I feel like a lot of our lawns had armyworms that didn't have damage, and I feel like a lot of it had to do with some of our Holganix applications as well, helping to strengthen the grass plant. And then upsell opportunity now in the fall gives us something else to sell. Now we have something else to sell our customers. Again, we did come from one of the larger companies, and that was always their thing. They're always selling something. And there's only so much you can sell a customer that seems to add value. And we're trying to reduce our chemicals. We're not always trying to sell them another chemical. So Holganix gives us an opportunity to sell them another product or another service here at the end of the year, something that's great for the soil, something that's going to help add more biological material and help the overall turf. Dave, I think, are you muted?
He might be having some problems with the mic. So, Caleb,
Yeah.
how
about now? Can you guys hear me?
there you go. Perfect.
Okay. How have you guys used Holganix to grow your business, Josh? If you wouldn't mind sharing, I greatly appreciate that.
Sure. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, from a marketing perspective, Holganix is great. As you guys can tell, we're pretty excited about the product. We're firm believers in it, and it did take me at least a few months to really be sold on it. But after seeing the results, my main concern was I just didn't want our lawns to look any worse than they did the previous year. But now it's paid off, and like Caleb was saying, our lawns look better now, even later in the year than they ever have. So it's been great because, as you guys know, again, this is a competitive industry. If we can have the best looking lawns in town, we're going to get calls. You'll see, we put our yard signs out after the treatments like many of you guys do. And that's one of our biggest ways to market is just, showing people what we can do and get the results. We do a lot of mainly door-to-door sales. We do some internet marketing and a few other things as well. But the door-to-door is huge too because, again, it gives us an opportunity to be able to sell to people that we would not have been able to sell in the past, especially people who are organic or they want to go greener, they want to try to cut down on chemical use. Those are people that you'll have an opportunity to sell that you would not have had otherwise. So to be able to grow our business, I'll give you an example. This year, every year since we've been in business, we've doubled in size, but this year it's been huge. We went from, I think last year we did probably about 1.5 million total to this year. We're pacing to do probably somewhere around 3 million this year, so we've almost doubled. And then next year we're projecting to do over 4 million. And I can say a lot of that has to do with the marketing aspect of hey, listen, we're different than everybody else. Because everybody says, hey, we're the best company, we're better service, we care about our customers more, blah blah blah. Okay, but this is something that we have that you don't have. We can offer that. So if you're looking for a competitive edge, then I think it's going to make a big difference for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Josh. If you go to the next slide, this is still capitalizing on what you just mentioned. Josh, is there anything you'd like to add about that, maybe the specific techniques?
Sure. Door-to-door sales, I'm a firm believer in it. I started working for TruGreen back in 2005 as a door-to-door sales rep, and I did very well there. So whenever we started up the business, we knew we wouldn't have any issue getting customers, and we never have. But that, to me, is a guarantee or a guarantee return on your investment. When you're doing, internet marketing or email marketing, you're probably going to get a small percentage of that. You actually get a return on your investment. With door-to-door, we kind of know if we train our guys, we teach them how to go out and sell, they're going to go out and we know exactly what our return on our investment is going to be, at least pretty close. Referral-based marketing, if that's what you guys are depending on, it's going to be hard to grow your business if that's all you go on. although if you do good work, people are gonna, they're gonna hear about you, and it makes a big difference. And vice versa, if you're not doing good work, they're going to tell everybody about it as well. So if you're looking for good results, and if that's one of the things that you care about, then I would say Holganix is going to give you guys an edge there, and that's kind of what we're talking about here. So inbound marketing, same thing. Again, if you're looking to grow your business, there's so many different ways. The flags, putting the lawn flags out there. If you're out there getting the sales, getting the customers, you go out and you do a whole neighborhood, and they see your lawn signs everywhere, and they're out walking their dog, and they see 50 UltraGreen signs or whatever your company's name is, they're going to call you because they say, okay, well, everybody else is using them, so maybe I ought to call them. So but you have to have quality, and that's one of the things that we've always focused on. That's one of the things that I feel like has made us different, and hopefully, we're all focusing on that as well. So as far as growing our business, it's been huge. It's allowed us to get our foot in the door to places we wouldn't have before, especially people who are concerned about chemical use and pesticides, herbicides. It kind of gives you an opportunity to say, hey, listen, we don't tell people that we're all organic. We don't tell people that we're more of a hybrid company. We're just trying to be more responsible, and we're trying to get you better results, because this product does do that. It gets so much better results, and we're doing it naturally and using biology instead of synthetic chemicals.
Awesome, guys. Well, really, really appreciate all your time. Katie, thank you much for helping set this up. I want to thank everybody out there that joined us today on the webinar. Once again, my name is David Underwood with Holganix. My information I shared with you at the beginning, I think she's going to pull that up as well. So if you have any questions that you want to ask directly to a Holganix rep, please feel free to reach out to me. A very, very big thank you to Caleb and Josh for their time today, their willingness to share about their business environment and how they've grown their business over the last 4 years. We appreciate your partnership. It means a lot to us as we watch your company grow, and if we can help, that's great. That's what we're here to do, and help design to be basically a tool in your business, whether it's the sales, the marketing, or an agronomic advantage.